Last month, the notorious paedophile Sidney Cook was blasted into space to spend the rest of his life aboard a one-man prison vessel, posing no further threat to children on Earth. But it was revealed that an 8-year-old boy was also placed on board by mistake and is now trapped alone in space with the monster. A spokesman said, "This is the one thing we didn't want to happen."
Why can we no longer think of the British Isles without the word pedof in front of them?
Once prominent political provocateur, Milo Yiannopoulos recently discussed his opinions on Professor Jordan Peterson with Stefan Molyneux. Discuss isn't quite the most accurate word, though. What Milo did was engage in a veiled screed that was about as reasoned as the hit pieces that would nakedly misrepresent him. In what was less of a discussion and more of a monologue, Milo echoes the sentiments of many of Peterson's left-wing critics, who merely wave Peterson off as a useless stater of the obvious.
Some time ago, I presented my loyal subscribers with a moving picture image, a series of images, a film of myself interacting with a cat. It was the 4th of July, and I was just hiding out from all the guests to the house, and the cat joined me. Now at this point I was kind of mocked and labeled a psychopath because I didn't pet the cat. I didn't pet the cat because I was afraid to be bitten, because this cat is semi-feral, whatever. It was born in the wild, and sometimes it likes to bite, and well, whatever, I was just kind of keeping my distance. Well, this time, at the end of this video, there will in fact be another interaction with a cat that will prove that I can in fact extend my affection to felines. No homo. That made no sense. It's what the youth say. The cat is female anyway, so... Hey, do you know the people I'm not going to cover on this channel who are unlikely to be subjected to constructive criticism here much? Well, the reason they won't be covered here is because I fucking hate them, and I wish them death, more so than the other people that I cover. So the person number one is the black pigeon. The thing about pigeons is they're very stupid animals. Have you ever looked in the eye of the pigeon? Like, you really have to be a schizophrenic on a park bench in order to interact with them. And when you talk to them, they actually just are there for the bread. They don't care about you. They have very limited trust or empathy for you because they're fucking pigeons. Pigeons are very stupid animals. They call them the rats of the sky. Why can't we eat pigeons like we do chickens? Kind of fucking give chickens a fucking break, you know? It would be like the Kentucky Fried Pigeon. Ha ha ha. To understand black pigeon, you have to imagine like an accountant who has leads a normal kind of bougie life, normal kind of political opinion range presented to his co-workers, etc. But in his closet, he has like some memento, some piece of memorabilia from the Third Reich that he picked up somewhere. It's probably a fake, but I mean, he really derives great joy out of it. Like maybe a little medal or some kind of a trinket, like a Nazi ashtray or whatever. Maybe it's a copy of Mein Kampf. And when nobody else is watching, when his wife is out of town, he goes in there and he just starts he locks himself in the closet. He just starts masturbating to that shit. He really has this secret life. His Mein Kampf copy is all sticky together, man. You know, the pages don't fucking open. It's been used in this way as an outlet for his own complete mediocrity. It's just the sexiness of dangerous ideas. You know, it's just, he's a piece of garbage is what he is. He comes very, very close to being outright, but he doesn't quite make it because he's a pussy, he's a cuck. Say whatever you want about the outright, but when they come out in the open, you know, on fucking YouTube, every third person is a Nazi. But out in the real world, for now at least, some stigma is still attached to it. And when they reveal themselves, they kind of become fucked in the eyes of society. Whereas Black Pigeon fucking hides behind this dumb fucking useless bird and then even then he's afraid to go all the way. He just kind of fondles it. You know, I guess maybe he'll talk about the ethno-state, but he'll never go all the way. He's a fucking pussy. I wish there was like a cauldron or something filled with boiling acidic vomit, and that fucking black pigeon would be fucking thrown in there. I wish that, you know, there was like a Chinese water torture type thing, where like pigeons would shit at his fucking head and he would be strapped, and slowly like the pigeon shit would, you know, get to his fucking brain and he would die. I don't like the guy, and I'm not gonna fucking cover him. He makes these fucking videos where he just kind of shits his little pigeon shits of different pseudo facts, and you just have to fucking dive all in there. 3 Arrows actually did a decent video about him. Very good, very fucking thorough. So fuck Black Pigeon. And the second person I'm thinking of right now is Milo Yiannopoulos. Milo Yiannopoulos is somebody I don't really hate that much as I hate Black Pigeon. With what this piece of shit pigeon did, even like the stupid cadence of his voice, it's like an accountant's voice. He deserves to be doxxed. Anyway, well, fuck it, that's Black Pigeon. Let's move on to Milo. Milo is just a fucking corny, awkward nerd. That's all he is. Beyond, you know, behind this kind of a vile kind of persona, kind of a flamboyant gay persona that's just some sort of a caricature that conservatives get hard onto. Like, that's the only aspect about him that's interesting, is that you see these comments underneath his videos, and it's just basically like all these conservative fucking reactionaries getting a hard on for Milo. Like, they're like, well, I'm not gay, but if I were, you know, or they just say like fucking Milo looking fabulous and shit like that. Like that part of it, that part of Milo is the only fucking interesting thing about it, the only kind of redeeming thing. If there's ever like a black person watching this video, you know, check this out. If you like put on blackface, like, I know it doesn't make any sense, but if you put on blackface on top of your, you know, kind of normal face, like, conservatives are gonna love you. Like, they already love pretty much every like black conservative ever. But if somehow, like, I know it doesn't make sense right now, but like, in light of Milo and his like flamboyant, cartoonish homosexuality, like, I have a feeling that like a black man consistently wearing blackface as some sort of a statement against political correctness and expressing, like, you know, these conservative views, it's gonna go big, man. Like, I can't exactly pin it down, but it's related to this fucking Milo. Like, they just want something like that, man. Like, they want that fucking insane flamboyance from minorities in order to fucking relate to them.
The pedophiles, delivering justice unto men who prey sex on our children.
Men who have sacrificed the right to a life without pain.
I know how they look. I know how they think. I was one, for Christ's sake.
10 years ago, I had designs on my own kids. I knew that one day I might act on them. So to stop me, I shot myself in my own head. I'd killed the pedophile in me. Now I do the same for society. Because these men have chosen the way of the animal.
They don't deserve punishment. They deserve gunishment.
The Pedophile starts next week on 4, straight after Pedophile Island. 100 kids and an ex-offender on an island full of cameras. What's going to happen?
Milo Yiannopoulos is just a very awkward person, a very shy guy. Have you ever noticed, like, him giving interviews? He's incapable of, like, providing eye contact. He just kind of looks to the side, man. I know that shit very well, man, from my personal life. So he hides behind this persona and constantly has to say some provocative shit. He's just like a hamster running in the hamster wheel of his own awkwardness. He has to fucking get away from it by saying this shit. And then he like says like feminism is cancer, and like some fat Tumblr girl gets upset in the audience. And man, you fucking made it, man. You're a fucking intellectual giant of YouTube now. We all have have a fucking hard-on for you, man. Everything he does is fucking corny. Like his tour, like The Dangerous Faggot, it's like manufactured in a fucking lab of fucking like edgelord corniness. You know, it's like, oh, I suck black dicks, I'm a fucking Jew, how can you say that I'm alt-right? It's just kind of posing with a Confederate flag. Everything is a fucking cliche about this motherfucker. He's so fucking boring. Everybody on YouTube is an attention whore, and they should all die. But Milo Yiannopoulos is just the kind of, it oozes out of him in a way that's just fucking profane. It's just fucking profane. And this is like, YouTube was where all these fucking awkward nerds, Sargon, Milo, just get to reinvent themselves. It's like, I was thinking about it the other day, like the smart nerds, right? They run YouTube. Like they literally run YouTube. I mean, they own it. And the dumb fucking nerds, they just kind of dominate this content provider shit in this category. Like, this is the place, this is the underground for the dumb nerds who make no fucking money. Whatever fucking Google, you know, gives up to you, like the few fucking coins it gives you when it doesn't demonetize your videos, this is what the dumb nerds fucking live on. They live off of a piss of fucking smart nerds. And they are complete morons. Like, it's just Gamergate is a big ideal. You know, what if these SJWs took away the fucking pixelated tits from us? Like, these are the kind of morons who run fucking YouTube as far as like providing content. And fucking Milo, you know, was their overlord by basically being a shitty, corny fucking troll. And now it seems like his troll career is on the decline. It's not pretty, man. He's lashing out at Peterson.
Help me to understand the Jordan Peterson thing, because is it just that people are sort of trying to work out what he's saying, and if it's that arcane and mysterious and Byzantine, then it must be profound. Is that something of what's going on? Because I've noticed that happen with other public figures. And I want to couch all this by saying I'm really happy that he exists and I like him, he's great, all the rest of it. But I'm just like, if I don't understand half the sentences that come out of his mouth, what on earth are the rest of America like getting from this?
Well, and you would also be very, very well educated in Christian theology and primary myths and
literally all the stuff he talks about.
Yeah,
and I have to work
stuff
really hard to pass the sentences. You know, sometimes when he's on stage and he's like rambling about some myth or some fairy story or whatever, that something about bunnies or whatever it was, and it's like 15 minutes, and I'm sorry, I'm trying. I honestly, I'm not saying this to be difficult. I just don't fucking understand the guy. I don't know what he's saying. Do I just not speak Canadian? I don't. But
do I not just speak Canadian? What a fucking joke, man. Out of the fucking 1950s game show. Where's fucking Steve Allen, dude? Where's the fucking dancing chimpanzee dressed like a baby? Fucking do I not understand Canadian? Dude, Canadian is not a language. That's just funny. And Jordan Peterson is from Canada. It's the fucking Milo, man. This is why we love him. Fucking funny.
There are long passages of Jordan Peterson that I just have this sneaking suspicion in the back of my head just don't mean anything.
He would be the guy to ask about this. But
none of his interviewers ever do. They sort of take it for granted that he's some sort of genius, and I'm like, well, he's obviously very smart, and he's echoing many of the things that we all believe in and that we all say. But I get this sense that like everyone's terrified to criticize him because he has, you know, he's the new hot thing and he's the new whatever. I mean, the rules all basically boil down to be nice. I mean, you know, the 12 all basically boil down to be nice, don't they? I mean, he seems to be advocating for a sort of educated kind of compassion.
If you want to understand Peterson, here's the thing. Peterson is basically like an embodiment of conservative Catholicism. Like, that's kind of his foundation. But with like fucking lobsters, archetypes, and a bullshit evolutionary theory. So that's basically it. So like he likes Dostoevsky, and a lot of kind of Catholic conservatives do as well. And basically conservative Catholics, they're more cerebral than your Protestant kind of dumb assholes. They're more fatalistic and kind of more pessimistic and darker. And they kind of have this dark view of human nature and what would happen if we lost Christian morality. But instead of kind of putting it in this way, Peterson creates convoluted ways of saying the same shit. So like with hierarchies, you know, lobsters emerge in order to kind of justify Christian morality. It turns out that this is like some archetypes that have evolved with our generations of our culture that we can't now let go of, because if we do, chaos will reign. I mean, it's just basically Catholicism with a lot of kind of bullshit surrounding it, oriented on kind of sad males who don't get laid. Like, that's basically Peterson in a nutshell. And the reason that Milo Yiannopoulos didn't kind of recognize this is because he's either stupid or lazy or both. You know, but who gives a shit about this? So anyway, like, now these assholes like who put this video together, now let's criticize these pieces of shit.
Yiannopoulos is someone who claims to have read Peterson's book and has come away with the impression that his words are utterly meaningless, while a fair criticism might center around Peterson's style of writing, which is sometimes roundabout or long-winded. Pretending that it's meaningless is unfair at best. When Peterson mines the Bible for deep-rooted and hard-earned truths about our nature through the lens of evolutionary psychology that can hardly be considered meaningless or basic, he draws upon these stories as crude pre-scientific method means for how we manage to make sense of the world. The statement of the obvious, criticism, is the apex of smug hubris. When his critics mock him for reminding us to set order to our rooms or to tell the truth, the result is this shallow interpretation that his message is to be nice. And if all you read is the headline, it's easy to come away with that impression. But the 21st century is rife with lost truths, and the idea that because something seems self-evidently true that we don't need to think through them is simply wrong. Would-be cliches like tell the truth are only cliches because they've been rendered lifeless by overuse.
As for myself, I'm all for banalities and cliches. Like, a lot of the important lessons of life are banalities and cliches. And to me, it is like a sign of a pseudo-intellectual that they reject all cliches. It's like they want to fucking be fancy pants motherfuckers. You know, everything has to be convoluted. Well, it really fucking doesn't, dude. You didn't read that fucking Kant, motherfucker. You just skimmed his Wikipedia, piece of shit. I know through you, dude. Why don't you fucking follow the cliche, the banality, dude, and wash your fucking hands after using the restroom? You haven't read Kant, you fucking liar, you bitch. I'm gonna shoot you, motherfucker. I'm gonna fucking kill you. But anyway, the problem with Peterson isn't that he's like presenting these banalities, which I would have no problem with. The problem is just his kind of convoluted load of shit around them. Like, he can't just present the banality, he has to like say some bullshit. Like, for example, as a matter of contrast, like the Dalai Lama, he travels to the West, and for decades now probably, he has a similar, kind of the same message. And that is like, compassion is good for you. It's not just good for the other people. It really isn't in your self-interest. Because when you're compassionate toward other people, you have less friction with humanity, among other things. Fewer kind of negative emotions arise in you, and you have a better life. It's kind of like this cliche, like quote. It either comes from the Buddha or is attributed to him, but it says like, when you're angry, you're generating poison for other people, but you're the one who's holding the poison inside of you. Like, shit like that. Like, I actually believe it in that stuff, as you've kind of noticed here from the video. I don't exactly follow it, but the thing is, like, you could say, oh, this kind of makes me a cock being a compassionate piece of shit beta. Everybody's gonna walk over you, motherfucker. They already do, and a lot of shit that you're holding on to as far as anger, it really never like translates into any kind of action that advances you in the hierarchy. It's just like bullshit little slights that you're holding on to, and if you were to release them, there would be a release of burden. And maybe you would be nice to other people and volunteer at the fucking Humane Society shelter as I did, and then I had to quit because when I would like take out little cats to play, and then I would put them back in their box, they would meow and put their paw against the fucking, and I just had to fucking quit that shit. But with Peterson, so contrast that with the Dalai Lama, who just gives you this message. You can agree and disagree with it. Sometimes he brings up psychological studies that have been conducted. You kind of can dispute these studies, but they did happen, and fucking who knows what's going on with fucking psychology, whether you can replicate it. But you know what I mean, man. He doesn't make it too convoluted or complicated. Whereas, like, contrasted with Peterson, when he says, like, stand up straight. Okay, stand up straight, maybe you'll get some confidence, you're you're gonna look better. You know, as we age, you know, it's important to make sure your fucking skeletal structure is in good shape, or else you're gonna croak. I mean, all that shit, man. You can say these cliches, but that's not for fucking Peterson. Peterson has to bring in the fucking lobster. And it turns out, man, that we've descended from fucking lobsters 150 million years ago. And when lobsters like straighten up, they get serotonin, and our brain runs on serotonin. But of course, the lobster is a fucking cockroach who doesn't have a brain in the mammalian sense. And our fucking ancestor 150 million years ago or whatever the fuck wouldn't even have been a lobster or anything. It would have been some sort of a shitty little shrimp, or like some fucking bacteria or whatever the fuck it was, that would have nothing to do with like serotonin, as in like the lobster posture. And that's the kind of the line, the bullshit of Peterson. He can't just fucking, you know, just say like a cliche, like make it simple. You know, and so I can't relate to his banalities.
Although the younger among us have always been overly self-confident, temporarily frozen in the state of a smart aleck until they mature, it's a problem that's been made worse by the Gotham culture of e-ownage, of which Milo was once the poster boy. What Milo's right about is that Peterson does talk about a single idea for long stretches of time. What he and other mediums like Joe Rogan are doing is filling that demand for long-form, thought-provoking, and substance-rich content. The demand for Milo's sudden ponage videos aren't nearly as high as it once was.
Where the fuck are you hiding, you little fucking nerd? Where are you fucking hiding, you little piece of shit nerd, man? Are you fucking, you know, where the fuck are you, man? I want to get in there with some guys and fucking kick your ass. Somebody needs to, like, in order to restore justice in the world, somebody needs to fucking get in there in your little fucking studio and fucking slap you around and pull you by your little fucking hipster tie, you little piece of shit. What the fuck is going on, man? What the fuck are you doing there, e-ownage or whatever the fuck, man?
It's a problem that's been made worse by the Gotham culture of e-ownage.
Jesus fucking Christ. Man, there's like these like fucking watching these YouTube videos, man, it's like whatever, the circles of hell in Dante Inferno. I mean, this is like an inferno of kind of bitter nerdom with fucking Peterson at the center of it. And the word combination, substance-rich content, really shouldn't like fucking apply to Joe Rogan. Every other day it's like some fucking conspiracy, some sort of a like some motherfucking historian who comes on who tells us that the reason like fucking Hitler invaded Poland is because he had a zinc deficiency. I mean, this is not fucking substance-rich content, man. It really isn't. It really fucking isn't. You know what I want to talk about? Milo Yiannopoulos being a Jew. I mean, this is one of the things, one of his brand. I don't fucking, even though at this point he openly cavorts with the alt-right, his whole thing is like, I like black dicks, I'm a flamboyant gay guy, and I'm a Jew. Like, he consistently fucking describes himself as a Jew. Well, let's take a look at this, man. It's the age-old question. What makes a Jew, right? It's an ethno-religious group of people. Like, I think about it as a group of interrelated ethnicities under a religious umbrella. Well, motherfucking Milo ditched that religious umbrella and became a fucking Catholic. Like, potentially out of his love for ridiculous outfits and pedophilia. Like, I wouldn't put it past him in moving in that direction as far as conversion, right? So yes, if your mother is Jewish, you're Jewish according to religious law. But he fucking ditched all of that shit by becoming a member of another religion. As is, motherfucker, you're just a half Jew, ethnically speaking. It's kind of like if there was a guy named O'Connor, right? And he had a Russian wife, and they had a son named John O'Connor, and he consistently would refer to himself as a Russian while being a Catholic. Now, it's fine, and he of course can be a Catholic Russian, even though traditional religion is Orthodox Christianity. And I'm a pseudo-Russian at this point anyway, because I've lived most of my life in the States. But you know what I mean? It's just fucking weird to kind of cling on to it when you ditch the religion. Like, you just have one member out of your two parents who is a member of that ethnicity, and the fucking religious law doesn't matter anymore because you fucking, you got rid of it. So it's just another like shitty lie, a little shitty brand that he promotes for his own little bullshit. I'm so tired of this kind of a litany of like fucking Milo corny brand with, you know, it's always like it's the black dicks, I'm a Jew, all this shit. I'm just fucking tired of it, man. What a fucking Milo, go the fuck away and die. Go away and die, dude. Well, no, I should cultivate compassion. Well, I can't right now. I just fucking can't. My dudes, you might have noticed my absence from the YouTube game. Okay, from the YouTube game, I've kind of been absent. And this has to do with certain health issues I have. And by health issues, I mean health issues. Anyway, it's funny, I'm preparing like a long video, and this is gonna be a long and unwatchable video, man. It might literally stretch over 2 hours. And just kind of explaining some events that happened to me in my 20s, some events having to do with health, health. And that explain why I'm a fucking loser right now, sitting here in my mother's house with this fucking background, you know, with faint noises of my stepfather watching like television downstairs. It will everything be explained to nobody who's gonna watch that shit, because it's gonna be fucking long. I'll try to make it good. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing this shit up is that in the process of like preparing myself for this video and like actually creating an outline, because it's gonna be long, so I'm not gonna ramble in my normal carefree way. Try to make it structured and good, dude, for you. Well, anyway, in the process of doing that, I've actually started having these very issues. And I had a real intense one recently, and I'm still recovering from it. And everything just spiked. The brain started feeding me lies. I didn't hear voices, man. But it's just my sense of reality completely shifted and became more meaningful. On the other hand, I knew it was a total lie, and I tried to like purge it from my system. And finally, it was purged, though. Likely because of, well, anyway, fuck it. It was finally purged, but everything seems so petty now, after this spike of meaning, after this spike of lies that my brain fed me after these, like, fantasies, etc. And now I just feel so hollow even making this video or talking about this petty shit, because I lived in a kind of a grandiose, beautiful world for a few days, even though I knew it was bullshit, and I tried to get rid of it, and it just kind of invaded my head, and it was nauseating, and I didn't fully enjoy it, but like life gained more color, and now that color is fucking drained again, and I'm back in this shit. I'm also preparing to milk you on Patreon, and watch out for that shit. I've been recording horrible videos for it, and soon it will be unveiled. My dudes, who knows how far we're gonna go with this fucking Patreon. I'm looking at fucking 2 extra fucking Arby's meals a month. Can we pull it off, man? Or are you just gonna leave me with a fucking McDonald's value menu for $5 a month? What are we gonna do about this, man? Oh, how can you expect me to be an e-celebrity without the money? Well, anyway, enough with this shit, man. Just wanted to give you an update about my absence. Hopefully, everything will, go back to normal, and I can resume my normal schedule after these disruptions. Let's get to the cat.
So a while back, I made a film of the cat on my bed, and here it is again. I don't know why it's here today. Maybe it's just getting old and more interested in hanging out on my bed, kind of defeated in life, and just gonna hang out with this loser who hangs out here. But you see that's the point, that I am in fact capable of petting the cat. It is in fact possible for me to pet this cat. Even though it really does try to bite you sometimes, but especially in its more youthful days, it seemed to have been more receptive to the idea of biting you. But now with age, I guess it's becoming increasingly more complacent. You see certain motions of its head still indicate a kind of a dormant capacity for biting. This cat is actually, it's not exactly like feral cat, but it's kind of, yeah, you see. Yeah, there's certain patterns there. It's not exactly like feral, but it's kind of semi-feral. It it grew up outside of my friend's home. There was a litter of kittens, and it just used to hang out there outside. But it was around humans. But it doesn't like to be picked up. Generally speaking, it doesn't like to sit on your lap. Generally speaking, I mean, it especially hates being picked up. And it used to have a wild side, but I guess it's kind of dying out with time, and it's just becoming more of a household pussycat. All right, my dude. So there. You see, I am in fact capable of petting cats. Really capable of petting cats. All right, man.